everyone, and welcome, or maybe it's welcome back to USA Global TV, home of talking heads. And hello to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio. So nice to have you here. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is the United Kitchens. We have two celebrity chefs joining us, and they are preparing a feast. I cannot wait to see what we have cooking today. Let's welcome Ricki McKenna joining us from Texas. Hi, Ricki.
Morning. Hi, Jacalyn, Dr.
Hi.
Jacalyn. Good morning, afternoon, evening.
You covered it all.
From Houston.
And let's welcome Simon McDonald joining us from Scotland. Hi, Simon.
Hello, everybody. It's a horrible, wet, miserable winter's type day here, but the sun always shines in this kitchen, I can assure you.
And we've got the nice, cool, sunny weather here.
And it's beautiful here too. It's very, very windy here. So we've got all right, but it's hot in those kitchens, right? With what you've got cooking today. I'm excited. So Ricki, you're going to go first. But before we do, let me just highlight each of you. And if you could just give us a quick overview of your background and why it's so important that you're here delivering these messages week after week. Ricki.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am Ricki McKenna. I'm nicknamed McHealthy for as long as I can remember. For over 22 years, I've been a certified nutritionist as well as a crazy foodie. I absolutely love food because I know that food is the basis for health. I have worked with everybody from corporate people to moms, dads, children in teaching them how to eat and why to eat. That's one of the things that is universal. We do need to eat. So food is universal, and I decided that that's the part of being a nutritionist that I really love. I believe that food is a necessary good, not an evil. And I don't want people to be afraid of food, afraid of eating, trying different things. This is a key, especially with children, because their habits are established by the age of 2. I've lived in the mountains of Colorado, taught up there. Actually sold soups for years at farmers markets and helped people with their whole physical being as well as emotional, mental, and spiritual. So I think that food unites us, and therefore I am here in my kitchen. Welcome to Ricki's Kitchen. And today we're going to be doing something quick and easy for lunch or dinner.
Fantastic. I like it, Ricki. Thank you. And over to you, Simon. I'd love to hear some more about your background when it comes to cooking and what you'll be whipping up for us today.
All right. Hello, everybody. Once again, here we are in United Kitchens, and welcome to my kitchen in the west of Scotland. Beautiful, beautiful part of the world, even on a wet, miserable day like this. But I've been involved in food ever since I could pick up a fork and eat the stuff. I'm absolutely passionate about it. I love it. And especially fish. You'll find that most dishes I do involves fish with some sort or other. I've cooked for royal families around the world, for our own royal family in the UK. I've cooked for the late King Hussein of Jordan, King of Spain, King of Norway, and various others. And I've also cooked for 3 US presidents as well. And food's an adventure. It's fun. You should enjoy it. I do. And it's starting to show, I'm afraid, but there's life. So we'll be cooking up a storm tonight.
Thank you, Simon. Isn't that really the conundrum? Because I have given up so much when it comes to food, and I'm still it's just a struggle because we love food. I love to eat. I'm a foodie myself, but I've given a lot of it up for health reasons, and I'm just sad. So I'm happy that you're both enjoying.
Well, I'm using one of your favorites tonight. I've got some fresh salmon here, which I'm using as one of my ingredients. So
yes.
Take note.
All right, I sure will. Okay, that being said, I'm going to turn it over. The stage is now Ricki McKenna's, and Simon and I will be backstage. Enjoy, Ricki. Have a great session.
Thank you, and welcome back again. Today, I have a beautiful piece of organically raised No, it's wild caught cod. And we're going to take that fish and simply make a very quick, delicious meal with it. It's just under a pound. You can see it's nice and fresh. It doesn't contrast with the dish very much, but that doesn't go in first. The first thing we put in the pan, and I'm going to do it all right here, with the exception of turning the burner on, which makes it easier to cook. And I'm going to take about, maybe a tablespoon of butter. And then I'm going to take about an equal amount or a teeny bit less of olive oil. There we go. And put it in my pan. And I'm going to get it started cooking. So just so that we can melt the butter until the butter melts. And that's when we'll add the other goodies. This is an easy to make recipe. All we have is onions, olives of your choice, but I prefer Kalamata, and grape tomatoes. So we're going to take the onion first of all, because we want to get that into the pan. And I'm just going to slice it, a few slices of red onion, and you can use onion or leek, whatever is your preference. And I'm going to do several slices of white onion, or actually yellow onion, and just chop it up enough. We don't necessarily have to make it diced, so we'll do enough because the onions will start to cook very shortly when I get them in the pan. There we go. We've got about a cup actually of onions here. And if you ever notice that onion quickly builds up when you start chopping it. So I'm going to take my almost cup of onions, and my butter's melting nicely with the olive oil in the pan. So I've got that in there. And we're going to take the onion skin out because that doesn't taste very good. And add the rest of the onion here. And I'm going to saute my onion until it starts to get clear, just a wee bit. The nice thing about this recipe is it's actually what I call a one-pan meal, because in addition to the fish, which will cook quite quickly and sufficiently within the onions, and the next thing we're going to add are the olives. And I'm going to turn my heat down to about medium. And maybe just chop up another little piece of the red onion just for flavor and color. And put that in as well, because it does give a little bit different flavor. And stir that around a bit. And there we go. So we've got that just simmering, which is really, really nice. It's beginning to smell yummy. If you choose, this is an option. It's fresh garlic, and I'm going to chop it up just a wee bit. You can mince it. You can use a garlic press, or you can just chop it up a wee bit into little pieces and put those in. And of course, I'm of the opinion that nothing smells better than garlic and onions cooking. So we'll put that in, stir it around a little bit so it contacts the bottom of the pan, because we want to get the onions that are just about clarified now. I'm going to take my olives and I'm going to cut them in half. Make sure you get pitted olives, by the way. And that one isn't. Okay. Actually, I do have some that are pitted. They're a lot easier to work with, but if you do have to pit the olives, the easiest way is to open it up, hold on to it with one hand, and just cut it off the pit. There we go. And try to find the pitted Kalamatas. Well, I have a combination in this, and so we're going to have to do a little olive peeling, which is not so bad. I do have a few that are pitted. Let's see. Okay, we'll just do them. Actually, I had about half a cup of olives here, and I'm going to put as many as I can peel in a hurry in here. We'll still have about a third to a half a cup. And you want to cut them in half or in thirds, whatever suits your cooking preference. So I've got fairly good sizes. Yep. Okay, and some more. Oh, I just seem to find the ones with the pits, but that's okay. They actually taste wonderful, and you can use them as an hors d'oeuvre as well. So I've got about a quarter of a cup here. And, ooh, that's a nice pitted one. There we go. So just in half and maybe in quarters, whatever suits you. And I'm going to take those. Let's see, got one more. Yay, pitted. Okay. I keep finding the pitted ones. This is good. Okay, so actually we're going to be using the onion, the olives, and then we're going to cut our cherry tomatoes up a little bit, or either grape tomatoes or cherry tomatoes, which are the little ones. And I prefer the flavor of the grape tomatoes. And now I'm going to put my olives in with the onions, which are starting to clarify. Oh, yum. And turn on a wee bit of a fan. Okay. I'm trying to keep the heat down. I want to keep the heat down at medium or a little bit below so the onions don't really burn. Because I like to have some of the onions that are a bit crisp. And I'm going to cut my tomatoes. The grape tomatoes you can either cut in half or in thirds, depending on the size. So I'm using the fresh tomatoes along with the pitted olives, or at least hopefully pitted. Because if you've ever bitten into an olive pit when you're trying to chew something, it isn't very pleasant. So we have about the same amount of tomatoes. Well, I've got about close to half a cup. And I'm going to put them right in there with everything else at this point. So we've got our onions, olives, and tomatoes, which is really very pretty, as well as smells divine. And remove another little piece of skin that escaped in there. Now I'm going to take this, and I'll show you how it looks. There we go. So you've got your three colors in there, the white, purple, and red of tomatoes. And I'm going to take my beautiful piece of cod. And the reason I chose cod most of the time for this recipe is that it's a very bland fish. And normally I would salt and pepper the fish, but since there's quite a bit of salt in the olives because they are cured in brine, I'm just going to put some pepper on top of my fish. And depending on how well done you like your fish, we're going to flip it over one time once we get that done. In the meantime, I had gone out to the garden today and picked out some fresh basil. If you like, you can put some basil in, but I prefer just the flavors, the blend of flavors from the onions, the olives, and the tomatoes. And so there's very little seasoning that goes into it other than I tossed in 2 little chopped up garlic cloves. So I'm going to use my basil on the plate and make it pretty. And while we're waiting, we're going to slice up the onion. We do a little tidying up here. Since I've got onion, olive, and tomato juice on my countertop or my board, I'm going to take my lemon. And when you buy lemons and limes or fruits that you're going to use the juice from, one of the good things to do is to roll it around on a hard surface so you loosen up the juices in there. And when I pick lemons or any citrus fruit, one of the things I look for are the bumps on the skin are they as smooth as possible? Because that usually indicates that the fruit has been more ripened on the tree or bush from which it's grown, especially with citrus fruits, so that you'll have more juice in the fruit. Now my piece of cod, which is absolutely beautiful, is about 1 inch thick, so I'm going to let it cook just a wee bit more on this one side, and then we'll flip it over. Now, if you're serving more than one person, you could cut it now in the pan while it's cooking, or before you put it in, or you can wait until you take it out and then cut it. Actually, what I'm going to do is get a wee bit bigger plate, since we're going to cut that for 2. Here we go. I think basil is so pretty, and if everybody wants to eat it when they're done, it's fine. It's actually quite good for your stomach. Meantime, I'm going to cut up my lemon, and I'm going to cut it into wedges. I'm cutting it in half the long way first, so that I can cut the wedges and I'm going to take one of them right now and sprinkle it on top of everything. Just a wee bit of it. It's just about 1/5 of the lemon. Just to give it a little bit more flavor. And I have my lemon wedges ready with my basil, so we'll make the plate look pretty. Can everybody see that? There we go. And since this is not a non-stick pan, I'm going to take my very sharp knife and cut this in half now. And this will enable it to cook on the edge a little bit better. And it also allows me to find out how well done it is at this point, which it isn't well done, which we don't want to overcook fish, and simply turn it over. Whoop. And we've got about another minute or 2, and we'll have this beautiful dish, which almost garnishes itself. A very tasty sauteed cod. In the meantime, does anybody have any questions or comments? I know we had some people on last week, and so one of the things I wanted to tell you was, first of all, about the lemons or citrus fruits before you eat them, especially if you're juicing them, and there's lots of juice on here. If you cut it on a plate or in a bowl, you'll also keep that juice. And I did not zest this lemon yet, because most of the time I zest my lemons before I use them, unless I'm going to use them as a garnish or put them on a plate. They're a little bit easier to hold that way. But normally I would zest the lemon and put it into a little tiny container that seals in the freezer, so that I have my lemon zest ready to use. One of the things you could do with this recipe, instead of just sprinkling the lemon juice, is use some lemon zest with it. So that's an alternative. And we can also, just for fun, slice this pretty piece of red onion very carefully into skinny pieces and use that as a garnish as well. And I think we are just about done here. Depending on how well done you like your fish, and then what I'm going to do, here's your alternative. You can take all this wonderfulness, the onions, tomatoes, and olives, and with a spoon, carefully put it right on top of the fish so that it completes the dish, and it makes it so pretty, as well as very tasty. Now with this, I would serve a green salad with just a light vinaigrette, because we don't want to compete with the strong taste of the olives and the onions together. And of course, you can always take the rest of this and put it atop elsewhere, or if somebody wants some more, there they have it. So very quickly, I'm going to take some of my red onion slices. Kind of fun punching these out. And take the smaller ones and just put a few on top and make it pretty. Oop, here we go. And there we have it. And of course, if you're going to serve it carefully, you can arrange everything on the plate. And there we have the finished dish. And that took all of 20 minutes.
That surely looks delicious, Ricki.
And it's so simple. That's one of my favorite dishes when I'm in a hurry. It can also be done with, don't listen, Simon, frozen fish. When you have the cod that's frozen, it's flash frozen, and I defrost it in cool water and then use that. But this was an absolutely gorgeous piece of wild cod that I bought yesterday. And so there you have it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And for anyone who wants Ricki's recipes, we have put the contact information in the comments. You can also go over to USA Global TV and you can subscribe to our channel, and you'll see at the top there's a playlist and you'll see the United Kitchens, and you can find all of our shows there. All right. Thank you, Ricki. I appreciate it. Go enjoy eating that, my dear. And we're going to go over to Simon in Scotland. Simon, the stage is yours.
Hello, everybody. Ricki, that looked lovely. A very Mediterranean feel about that dish there. And in the Mediterranean, it's actually one of the healthiest areas as far as dietary conditions go, and that you'll find in the world. And they use a lot of fish, and they're cooking with olives and they're cooking with tomatoes, or you'll say tomatoes, all the time as well. Very, very healthy eating there. That looked absolutely stunning. So, right, okay, hard act to follow tonight. Anyway, what I'm doing is fish box. Well, you think fish box made of plastic or used to be made of wood and so on. Then not all of them. So what I've done, cut a little bit of bread. By unsliced bread, good old-fashioned farmhouse type loaf. And what we want to do here is cut the, just cut the crusts off it. Oh, we all got into trouble as kids. Eat your crusts, they're very good for you. They'll make your hair curl. Oh, we always resisted that. But they are very good. But the thing is, don't chuck away the crusts, because you can make wonderful croutons, all sorts of different things you can do with those. So we keep those aside for another time. So there we go. So this is the basis of the fish box. So we've got to make it into a box rather than a block. So what I'm doing is just cut, not all the way down to the bottom, but quite well down, and just about half an inch all the way around of a border. And this is one of these, again, for a fish dish. It's simple, straightforward, quite sophisticated, and it's very nice for a winter's day. So getting very used to it. Apparently we have snow forecast possibly for next week. So there we are, winter's coming in. So what I'm doing now, I've cut all the way around, and I'm just pinching out the piece in the middle. I'll keep that aside as well, again for croutons. So there we have the fish box, almost. Now, it's got to be crunchy, it's got to be crisp, it's got to be tasty. So for this, I'm just going to take this pan, Old Faithful, and dip it in melted butter all round. There we go. Oh, I'm getting into the messy bit now. Yippee, I love the messy bits. There we go. And we've got that. Now to do the inside of it, just brush the butter a little bit around the inside. There we go. That's that bit started. And what I'm going to do now is just put that onto a baking tray. because it's all buttered, it doesn't even need to be oiled. But there we are. I have an oven, and the oven's on pretty high. So that will go into the oven to crisp off. So it's almost toasted. There we go. So that's in there. Just give it a few minutes. In the meantime, we'll just get the pan on. I've chopped some onions earlier. I've got some oil in the pan. We'll chop up a few mushrooms. Don't like that knife for that. We'll get this one. This is the real business. So the mushrooms can be fairly rough chop. Doesn't have to be standing in ceremony for this one. So we'll just put that there. I'll do another one. This is going to be quite a full fish box. But there we go. You see, it's a fish box. Where's the fish? Well, I've got Dr. Jacalyn's favourite here. I've got some fresh Scottish salmon. Beautiful fresh Scottish salmon. I'm going to cut this into cubes. So just take that longitudinally down. This I've filleted earlier from the whole fish, and I've also taken the skin off as well. So we've got our cubes of fresh salmon. You can use any kind of fish you like in this. Choice is yours. I've got some very, very lightly smoked haddock here. I've used smoked haddock often in cooking because it's so easy to do. You can do all sorts of things with smoked haddock. A lot of people get quite worried about, but what can you do with it? Well, here we are. We're just using it constantly in a number of dishes. And this one, certainly no exception. Gives nice texture, just gives that subtle smokiness and the flavour there as well. Little red pepper, just to add a bit of colour to it all. There we go. Just cut that roughly. Doesn't need to be done artistically. Just cut it rough, because it all gets eaten at the end of the day. Right, so we put onions. Actually, these are shallots, which I'm using. Shallots are a lot sweeter in flavour than onions. Onions can be a bit harsh, but the red onions Ricki is using, they're nice because there's a sweetness, a natural sweetness about them, which is just a real delight. And again, very, very Mediterranean. Pepper, red pepper in. Let's give that another wee whack. Some of the mushroom in. Mushrooms are very useful in food. I know a lot of people don't like them, but it's one of the best thickening agents you can use when you're making a sauce like this from scratch. And it really doesn't take long to do this one. Just watching how everything's going at the same time. And there we are, get that up a little bit. So I'm just letting the shallot just blanch down a little bit, just so it starts to whiten. I don't want it to caramelize and go brown. Just want it to whiten a little bit. Now here as well, at the end for a bit of garnish, I've got some nice fresh asparagus tips and samphire. And samphire is, you can taste the sea in samphire. It's a wonderful thing. It's become very trendy now as well. It's lovely, lovely, not quite a herb, it's a sort of sea vegetable. Delicious. So what we're doing now is give that a little whizzle around there. It's about ready to go. Splash of white wine. Well, we're on to South Africa tonight for our wines. This is the Stellenbosch Drive, and it's a Chardonnay. Now, Chardonnay, a lot of people say, ooh, it's difficult to use with fish. A lightly out Chardonnay, perfect with fish. And it's got the flavour which you need for this dish as well, because the sauce is quite rich and it's quite flavoursome. So just a little bit there, and a little bit there, of course, need that. So let that reduce down a bit, and as it's reducing down, I've got a good old stock cube at home in the kitchen. Use chicken stock cubes or vegetable stock cubes. They're lovely. It's just a pinch, and it just rounds up everything that's going on in there. So it's just a pinch of the stock cube. Now, the last thing we put in is the fish. Although it is a fish dish, but it is the last thing we put in. I've got cream, double cream, only cook with double cream because it won't split. Single cream, that splits out. So we put in a good half a cup, 3/4 cup full of the cream. Of course, the quantities I'm using here is really for a portion and a little bit more that I'm doing, because if you're doing 2 or 3 portions or 4 portions, depends how many people you're having over for dinner, well, then just build it up. So you're going to finish up with a sauce, which was enough to do that. Am I sounding vague? Probably am. It's late in the day. Juice of a lemon, and lovely fresh lemons, which we can get here, and just squeeze that in. There we are. And that just gives a little bit of sharpness, a little bit of bite to the sauce. How's my fish box? It's coming on beautifully. Oh, this is going to be oh so tasty. Get the plate ready. Now we've got the samphire and the asparagus. So I'm just going to bring that butter up to more of a heat, and then just very lightly cook off the samphire and the asparagus tips. When you're using asparagus, just when you buy it, just take the ends off it, because they can be quite sort of woody and stringy and so on. So just cut the ends away. I've already done it with this, and it just gives the succulence all the way through everything you're eating. So this is coming down quite nicely now. Let's turn the heat down that a bit. In goes the asparagus. There we are. And you want asparagus so it's still slightly al dente, which means it's got a crunch to it, but you don't want it totally raw. But vegetables in general, you want to have that little bit of crunch. It retains the vitamins, it retains the goodness and the healthiness from it. If you overcook them, and there's nothing worse than cabbage or broccoli that's been overcooked, and it just goes dead. So do them just so you've got that nice little bit of crispness. Some restaurants you go to, they tend to make them maybe just a little bit too al dente. But tonight we do it as we like it. So those just done in the butter, the same butter which I was using to do the fish box with. Let's just have a look and see how this is coming on. Yeah, we're nearly there. Yes. A couple of seconds, that'll be ready. Just in time for everything else being ready. Just turn the asparagus over. There we go. And then I'll just throw the samphire in now as well. Just give that a little light going too. Now, time to get the fishies in. So here we go. There's fish. Stir that in. I'm going to also throw in a little bit of dill now as well. Just turn that bit. There we go. This is coming on beautifully. My wife loves samphire, and I can't go to a local shop where they're selling samphire without having to bring some home. Otherwise, might get my head in my hands to play with, but she loves her samphire. And just eats it as it is. And it's so good for you. It's a really, really healthy thing to have. So we'll just chop up some dill. Lovely fresh dill this. I just got that this morning. Just keep that piece aside just for a little bit of pizzazz. Whack that into there. Bring this up. I'm just going to put a wee squirt of black pepper in as well. There we go. So just scrape that. When you're doing that on a board and scraping on a board, use the back of the knife. Don't use the sharp bit. Otherwise, you're going to finish up doing a lot of carpentry on your board. And never use a glass cutting board. There's nothing worse for a knife than a glass cutting board. It makes a terrible mess. So there we go. So we're nearly ready. Everything's just about coming together now. Bring out the plate. Bring out the fish box. Spot on. Absolutely spot on. Sauce now is just looking lovely. Oh, the smell of it as well. It's so, so delicious. Really, really is absolutely delicious smell. And the fish, because I've cubed it up like that, it's cooked in no time at all. So there we are. So we have the fish box filled with the fish. And this is fit for a king, this meal. It really is absolutely wonderful. Oh, you'll be glad you came. There we are. I know what we're eating in our house tonight. Here we go. And here's a little bit of the cooked off sunflower, just around the edges. And then asparagus. 1, 2, and 3. And there we have it. Everybody, we have fish box. Oops, slight spillage here and there, but that is really something. And I wish you could smell these beautiful aromas. And I say, to go with it, glass of Chardonnay that you've cooked with. Only cook with wines that you're prepared to drink. Cheers, everybody.
Oh my God.
Bravo! That looks
It
exceptional.
inspired me, Simon. I went into our little wine cellar and I found a bottle of Oregon Pinot Gris to go with
Right.
the cod.
That's good. A nice crispness. That would be perfect with what you have there. It's just got that lovely crispiness to it, which would complement the cod and the olives and the tomatoes. The acidity of the wine will cut through the olives. Just beautiful. Perfect.
It'll be beautiful. Yeah.
You two are so blessed because you get to eat that. I love it.
Yeah, we get to enjoy the wine as well.
I know, it looks amazing.
Can't quite get it through the screen, Dr. Jacalyn.
I know, I would love to have it through the screen.
Oh, you have no idea how lovely this is. This looks, and and the taste. I tell you, did I get it right?
No fair.
Sure, it's perfect. Oh my!
That's so much. That's a good way to get children to eat. Put it in a box. Let them make the box an ideal thing.
Food should be fun. Make
Absolutely.
it fun. Do little quirky things. A fish box. Kids think, wow, you can put other things into it and call it a toy box.
Yes. Well, I think with both of you, what you've done is you've taken something like fish and you've made it very creative. So it's like art. And I really appreciate that. It looks beautiful just to see it. And I'm sure it tastes amazing and smells incredible as well. So, all right.
It's just such fun. And we all have to eat. So, make it fun, make it enjoyable, make it a pleasure. It's a very important part of your life. And you think how many hours a day you're actually eating. And then work that out. How many hours in your lifetime you're enjoying food? Make sure you do enjoy it, and you'll have a very happy life then.
Yes. Have fun with food. And again, I appreciate both of you for putting together these incredible meals. And I'm just so jealous that I can't have them, but I'm happy for the two of you to have them. So, all right.
The salmon is so nice as well, and it is so fresh. It's very fresh salmon.
Same thing here.
I don't want to make you feel bad and difficult.
No, that's all right. I'm glad that you two are going to be able to enjoy it, and that anybody who wants to reach out to you, I put your contact information in the comments, and they can certainly reach out for the recipes. And also, I'm just starting this today. Anybody watching, because I see you watching on YouTube, I see you watching on LinkedIn and Facebook, please just go and click share. Just go right to where you're watching, click share, so that everybody else who's not aware of this program can start following it and get some wonderful recipes that you can incorporate into your lives. So I'm raising my glass. Actually, I have a glass of water. Here's to the two of you.
Well, it looks like water, but it's made with grapes.
I drink it, there is water, and I'll raise the bottle.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll be looking forward to my Chardonnay after today. So,
Okay.
all right, we have to run. We have another show coming up. It's a special event. We've got UK singer-songwriter Tony Moore, who is releasing his newest single, Never Gonna Say Goodbye, and he's doing it on our show right after this. So stay with us. I'll be joined by my co-host, Mr. Al Cini, for this special event. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Ricki. And thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll be back next week, and I'll be back in another 15 minutes. Bye.
Bye just now. See you next week.